What we're here tonight to talk about is just women, money, purchasing power, and just how it's changed so dramatically, and women's power has changed, and the influence that she has, but also some of the trials and tribulations that she has with marketers.
I thought before each one of our panelists talked a little bit about what they're presently working on, we would review some stats that we found to be pretty interesting, and it might be just a good way to start a dialogue.
So the first one is women account for 85% of all consumer purchases, including everything from automotive, healthcare, financial planning, vacations, new homes, electronics. Women dramatically influence also the remaining 15%. Women will drive an incremental $5 trillion in global spending in the next several years. Single women without children, ages 22 to 30 in major U.S. cities now have a higher median income than their male peers. Less than 1 in 5 married couple families are supported by the husband alone. 78% of women say they will gladly switch brands if offered a coupon. Women ages 50 plus have a combined net worth of $19 trillion. But are basically ignored by marketers.
What I've been doing for the last decade is really helping marketers understand the difference between half-truths, and this is the half-truths what women are willing to admit, which is not that much, and the whole truth is what women really believe, do, and buy. So example is a half-truth is I really watch what I eat, but the whole truth is the #1 selling salad at McDonald's has fried chicken on it, isn't dark chocolate and red wine healthy for me? So there's all these half and whole truths. It is not lying. It is very different. It is just half the story. How many of you have been in a focus group in the back room? Eating peanut M&Ms once or twice. These are my favorite Hall of Fame answers, best half-truths that come around from traditional research. My favorite of all time has got to be, this would be great for camping. Because that is what women say when they don't want to tell you they hate your product. Because they're not going camping, they're never going camping. And moderators were always traditionally taught, do not ask the next question, do not call them out. So as my professional kick in the pants, I would always say, so what size tent do you have? Or the way to not answer it is, my sister would love this. What the bubble over her head says is, I hate my sister. And this is just my way of getting out of talking to you. Or the classic, I need to do more research on that. Because so many people make time out of their busy day to do research on your products. Especially things that cost under $5. They really want to do some homework on that bar. And then also, I like it as long as it doesn't cost more. Well, who wouldn't? And what's happening right now is a very big generational divide that marketers are having a tough time getting a handle on. So it's sort of the time, money, spend. And what we're seeing with millennials is they'll spend money so they don't have to spend time. So they go shopping less, but they buy more. And they will just do it to get rid of it. Gen Xers are still in that classic. When you see all the articles that are coming out now about women having it all, The Atlantic and everybody else talking about it right now, women sort of squarely in the middle of this are Gen Xers who already had a lot on their plate and are sort of at the life stage where the most pressure on them, both to be breadwinners, bread bakers, baby taken carers, all of those things, that these women are still so hooked on the deal, because as marketers we've done that to them, they're so hooked on the deal that they're still willing to spend time to save money. So that's why you've got triple coupons. That's why there's a show like Extreme Couponers. Because there is an actual, the scientists have done the work, there's an actual endorphin rush that comes from saving money, and you get hooked on it, just like crack. The dopamine goes up, and you get really excited just when you get a good discount or a deal, and then you're constantly looking for the next one. So it's no accident that Groupon is sending you a couple things a day. They know that just as soon as you scratch one itch, there might be another one. And the other is a whole truth that I think is really important right now, which is women, when we talk about this savings junkie moment, they're saving to spend, not saving to save. So saving to spend. I'm saving on this deal so that I can buy more deals. I'm saving on this deal so that I can buy more stuff. It is not about a rainy day. there is still not a mentality, even post-recession or depression, depending on who it's happening to, that is about that rainy day. I think you saw a little bit more of that in '08, but since then, I'm back to seeing women talking like you watch them in the grocery store, and they are using their coupons and their loyalty cards, but it is only so that they can buy a better toy for a kid's birthday party present. It is not so I can put it in the college fund.
You know, I'm sure most of you guys know, looking at Pinterest, which is exploding now, looking at Twitter and Facebook, that women are really driving the engagement on those platforms. So first of all, just in terms of the sheer number of accounts, women have more accounts than men do. In fact, on Pinterest, it's like more than 90% female. We were very curious, and what spurred this study that we just did, which is called She's Connected, was this idea that with all this time that women are spending on with social media, nothing's been taken off our plate, right? If anything, more women are now working out of the home. If they weren't working out of the home before, there's nothing that's coming off the plate. How do they have time to spend in using social media? One of the things that we wanted to ask them to start with was, well, how does it make you feel? I mean, you're using social media so much. Tell us, is it making you feel delightfully in touch and in tune with the world? Or are you overstimulated and over-accessed? And as you can see from the stat that's on here, about half of the women said it's a little of both. So there's ambivalence. So we can't ignore the ambivalence. But what you're also seeing is that much more often than not, right? So 42% of the women said that it actually makes them feel more delightfully in touch and in tune with the world than either both or overstimulated and overaccessed. And that was surprising to us because we thought that women would feel a little bit overwhelmed with all this time that they're spending using social media. The next thing that we then started to try to understand was, well, okay, if it's making them feel pretty decent about the world and in touch and in tune with the world, why? What's driving that? And what we figured out, based on what they were telling us, is that it's really because it makes her life more efficient. She's using social media, she's using digital, she's using these platforms to actually streamline her life. So you can see that it's allowing them to express themselves and their beliefs. It's allowing them to have the conversations directly with maybe brands or companies where they wouldn't have been able to do that. The last thing, though, to point out is that the number one thing that people were telling us about why they were engaging is because, and it's a 40% number here at the bottom, is that it's helping them connect with friends and family. So it's that efficiency. It's about helping make my life easier.
So I think that there's been a paradigm shift that's happening in marketing, and it's because relationships matter, and with the rise of social media, the conversation's been hijacked in this sort of paradigm shift, and women in general don't want brands to tell us what to think about them because we actually don't believe them, we don't trust them, and we really want to hear from someone who's used it or someone we trust in first person to tell us what they think. And so you might see great reviews of a book in the New York Times Review, but if your best friend says that book sucks, don't waste your time, you're not going to read that book. So one of the things that's happening here is that we grew up, most women, really with brand loyalties. I grew up in a Tide family and a Crest family, and we there were these brands that were things that we had. We do a lot of research on primarily looking at moms, tapping into moms. And what we found is that only 50% of women currently consider ourselves brand loyalists. If the right freebie comes along, we will go off Land O'Lakes butter and try the generic grocery butter. It has never been easier for brands to lose consumers or win new ones. And so that means that there's a changing of how people are thinking about brands, and they're open. People are open to brand switches. And once they trial, then there could be a switch. Women are now very much like independent voters. I just did an article that posted this week in Forbes that was about how women in the electoral vote in this sort of fight from Romney and Obama to own women's votes, they're very much like independent swing voters. And so we will switch brands based on strength of recommendation to save money. And this is that statistic, 78% of us, if you give us a significant, like $2 off, we're willing to try something. And if we like it, we'll be switching. What we see is that there's also this rise of an online recommendation culture. We trust pet products we might, I think advertising and traditional can raise awareness, but almost like only 1% of the moms that we surveyed said that they trust celebrity endorsements. They think that it's awareness, like you're aware of it, but we don't think Catherine Zeta-Jones really loves that cell phone. But because we just think that she was paid a lot of money. There used to be categories as women that we just didn't feel comfortable dealing with. Cars, computers, cell phones, things that we just thought of like, can somebody else come in? Like, can we get our brother or our husband to come talk to these people? Because in fact, I just bought a car for my daughter, bought her a Ford Escape, but I'm sitting there the whole time, I don't trust you. I really don't trust you. You say it's the lowest price. It's not the lowest price. If I brought somebody else here, would you give them a lower price? It's that feeling of, and they're like, I swear we've been told to change our policies to give you the real price. I'm like, that's a lie. I don't know. I'm like, so I'm resenting it. They think they've given me a bargain. I'm like, I've been had. I know I've been had. I'm gonna, And so I think that, sorry, jumping back here, the thing is this, is that the consumer imprint of women has expanded. We think nothing about walking in and buying our cell phones and going into the Apple store and deciding computers. And so that's actually expanded the whole base of the market. And so there's sort of exciting change afoot, and that's sort of what I wanted to share from